Have you ever seen a room go silent because of one laugh? This is what happened when a young African leader, Ibrahim Traoré, stood up to speak in front of the world's most powerful people. The hall was full. Every seat was taken. Flags from many countries hung on the walls. The air was thick with tension. Everyone was waiting for something important. Ibrahim walked to the front. He looked calm, but his eyes were sharp. He was ready to speak for his people. But before he could finish his first sentence, a NATO officer in the front row laughed. It was loud. It was rude. It was the kind of laugh that says, "You don't matter." The whole room froze. All eyes turned to Ibrahim. What would he do? Would he get angry? Would he walk away? Or would he do something nobody expected? Ibrahim did not get angry. He did not look away. He stood taller. He looked the officer in the eye. The room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. Ibrahim spoke and his voice was clear. "In Africa, we say even a small drum can make a loud sound." The officer stopped smiling. The people in the room leaned forward. They wanted to hear more. Ibrahim did not waste time. He told a story. "When I was a boy, my grandmother told me about the clever tortoise and the proud leopard. The leopard was fast and strong. He laughed at the tortoise for being slow. But one day, the tortoise challenged the leopard to a race. The leopard ran ahead, but he got tired and stopped to rest. The tortoise kept moving, slow but steady. In the end, the tortoise won. The leopard learned that pride can make you blind." The room was silent. The officer who laughed was now listening. Ibrahim looked around. He saw leaders from every continent. He said, "Africa has been laughed at for many years. People come to our land and take what they want. They think we are weak. But we are not weak. We are strong in ways you cannot see. We survive. We learn. We hope." He told another story. There was a small bird who wanted to cross the desert. The big birds laughed at her. They said she was too small. But the small bird did not listen. She flew a little each day. She rested when she was tired. In the end, she crossed the desert. The big birds were surprised. The small bird showed them that courage is stronger than size. The room started to change. People were not looking at the officer anymore. They were looking at Ibrahim. He spoke with confidence. He spoke with heart. He said, "Respect is not given. It is earned. Today, I asked for respect not just for me, but for all of Africa." He told another story. "In my village, there is a river. It is wide and deep. Many people tried to cross it, but they failed. One day, a young girl built a bridge, one stone at a time. It took her many days, but she finished it. Now everyone can cross the river. She taught us that patience and hard work can solve big problems." The NATO officer who laughed was now quiet. He looked down at his hands. He did not expect to be taught a lesson by someone he thought was weak. Ibrahim kept going. He said, "Africa is like that girl. We build our future, one step at a time. We do not give up. Do not stop." He looked at the officer and said, "You laughed at me, but you do not know my story. You do not know the story of my mother, who walked miles for water. You do not know the story of my father, who worked in the fields every day. You do not know the story of my people, who dream of a better life. These are the stories of Africa. These are the stories that make us strong." Ibrahim paused for a moment, letting his words sink in. Then he shared a memory from his childhood. "When I was a boy, I would wake up before sunrise. My mother would tie a cloth around her head and take my hand. We would walk together to the well, far from our home. The ground was rough and the air was cold. But my mother never complained. She would sing songs to keep us moving. She taught me that every step, even the hard ones, brings us closer to our goal. That is how we live in Africa. We keep moving, even when the road is hard." He looked at the leaders in the room and said, "You see Africa in the news. You see hunger, you see war, you see problems. But you do not see the people who wake up every day and try again. You do not see the children who study by candlelight. You do not see the farmers who plant seeds in dry soil, hoping for rain. You do not see the mothers who share their last piece of bread with their children. This is the real Africa. This is the Africa I know." Ibrahim's words painted pictures in the minds of everyone listening. He told them about the markets in his city, where people laugh and bargain and share stories. He described the sound of drums at night, the taste of sweet mango, the smell of rain on dry earth. He spoke about the elders who sit under the big tree and tell stories to the young. He said, "Our stories are our strength. They remind us who we are. They remind us that we belong to something bigger than ourselves. He turned to the officer again. You laughed at me, but you do not know the story of the hunter and the lion. In our village we say, until the lion learns to speak, every story will praise the hunter. For too long, others have told Africa's story. They have called us weak, poor, and helpless. But now we are telling our own story. We are showing the world our strength. The room was still. Ibrahim's words were like a river, flowing fast and strong. He told another story. There was a village where the people fought over water. Each family wanted more for themselves. The river began to dry up. One day, a young boy stood up and said, "If we keep fighting, there will be nothing left for anyone." The people listened. They worked together to dig a new well. They shared the water. The village grew strong again. The boy taught them that unity is more powerful than greed. Ibrahim's eyes moved from face to face. He saw doubt, but he also saw hope. He said, Africa is not perfect. We have problems, but we also have solutions. We have ideas. We have dreams. We want to work with the world, not against it. We want to share, to learn, to grow. He told a story about a teacher in his village. Her name was Madame Cone. She taught in a small classroom with broken windows and old books, but she loved her students. She believed in them. She told them, you can be anything. You can change the world. Many of her students became doctors, engineers, and leaders. Madame Cone showed us that hope is the best gift you can give. The audience was listening closely now. Some people were taking notes. Some were nodding. Ibrahim's words were simple, but they were full of life. He said, Africa is not just a place. It is a feeling. It is the sound of children playing in the dust. It is the taste of fresh bread in the morning. It is the hope that tomorrow will be better, even if today is hard. He looked at the officer and said, You laughed at me, but you do not know the story of the baobab tree. In the dry season, the baobab looks dead. Its branches are bare, but inside it is full of water and life. When the rain comes, the tree grows new leaves. It gives fruit to the people and shade to the animals. The baobab survives because it is strong inside, even when the world outside is hard. Ibrahim's stories kept coming, each one different, each one true. He spoke about the fishermen on the river, who work together to pull in their nets. He spoke about the women who weave baskets and sell them in the market. He spoke about the young men who play football on dusty fields, dreaming of playing for the world. He said, we are dreamers, we are builders, we are survivors. He told a story about a storm. One night, a great storm came to our village. The wind was strong, the rain was heavy. Many houses were damaged, but the next morning, everyone came together. We fixed the roofs, we cleaned the streets, we shared food. The storm made us stronger because we faced it together. The officer who laughed was now silent. He looked at Ibrahim with respect. Ibrahim said, You laughed at me, but you do not know the story of the firefly. At night, when the world is dark, the firefly shines its light. It is small, but it is not afraid. It shows us that even a little light can make a big difference. Ibrahim's words were like seeds, planting hope in the hearts of everyone listening. He said, Africa is not asking for pity. We are asking for partnership. We want to work with you, not for you. We want to share our ideas, our culture, our dreams. He told a story about a festival in his village. Every year we have a festival to celebrate the harvest. People come from far away. We dance, we sing, we eat together. We thank the earth for its gifts. We thank each other for our friendship. The festival reminds us that life is better when we share it. Ibrahim looked at the officer and said, You laughed at me, but you do not know the story of the river stone. The river stone is shaped by water, not by force. It becomes smooth and strong because it learns to adapt. Africa is like the river stone. We have learned to adapt. We have learned to survive. He spoke about the future. We want our children to go to school. We want our farmers to grow more food. We want our doctors to heal the sick. We want our leaders to listen to the people. We want peace. We want progress. We want respect. The room was full of energy. People were inspired. Some were even wiping away tears. Ibrahim's words were simple, but they were powerful. He said, We are not asking for much. We are asking for a chance. We are asking for respect. We are asking to be heard. The officer who laughed stood up. He looked at Ibrahim and said, I am sorry. I did not understand. Today, I have learned something important. Ibrahim smiled and said, "It is never too late to learn. That is the lesson of Africa." The other leaders clapped, not just for the speech, but for the wisdom and courage it took to turn laughter into respect. The story of that day spread far and wide. People talked about how a young leader from Africa changed the minds of the most powerful people in the world. Not with anger, but with stories, with patience, with dignity. Ibrahim's words did not stop at the walls of the hall. They traveled across countries and continents. People everywhere heard about the young leader who stood up to laughter and turned it into respect. In villages and cities, people talked about the stories he told. They remembered the tortoise and the leopard, the small bird, the girl in the river, the tree in the desert, the baobab, the firefly, the river stone, the storm, the festival. They saw themselves in these stories. They felt proud. They felt strong. They felt hope. In the days that followed, the leaders who were in the hall began to change the way they thought about Africa. They started to listen more. They started to ask questions. They started to see Africa not as a place of weakness, but as a place of wisdom and strength. The NATO officer told his friends about what happened. He said, "I laughed because I did not understand. But now I know. Africa has much to teach us." Other leaders agreed. They remembered the stories. They remembered the lesson. Ibrahim returned to his country. The people welcomed him as a hero. They were proud of him. They were proud of themselves. They knew that their voices mattered. They knew that their stories were important. Ibrahim visited schools and told the children the same stories he told in the hall. He told them, never be afraid to speak. Never be afraid to stand up for what is right. Even if people laugh at you, do not stop. Your voice is powerful. Your story is important. The children listened. They felt strong. They felt hope. The story of Ibrahim Traoré and the laughing NATO officer became a legend. It was told in schools, in homes, in markets, and in meetings. It was a story about respect, about courage, about the power of words. It was a story that taught everyone, young and old, that laughter can hurt, but it can also heal. It can divide, but it can also unite. It can be a weapon, but it can also be a bridge. So, the next time you see someone being laughed at, remember this story. Remember Ibrahim Traoré. Remember the tortoise and the leopard, the small bird, the girl in the river, the tree in the desert, the baobab, the firefly, the river stone, the storm, the festival. Remember that the world can change in a single moment if we are brave enough to listen, to learn, and to respect each other. This is the true power of Africa. This is the lesson that shocked the world. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more powerful tales from Africa and beyond, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us share more stories that inspire, teach, and connect us all. Hit the like button, leave a comment about what you learned, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.